Given the nature of my research with the Bible and the work that I do, well, all work from antiquity really, but right now specifically with the Bible, I often make the comment to people that Abrahamic religion is actually closed-minded, a belief system. And people we get this kind of thing going back and forth where there's a lack of understanding. My name is Dan Paulson. Welcome to the video. I want to describe why I say what I do, but we have to think this through. I don't want to say something that's just throw out a blanket. You have a closed mind. That's it. Let's think this through. There's a reason why we need to look at it from an outside perspective. Now, first of all, if I am a Christian and I believe in God, and somebody is an atheist talking to me, telling me that my mind is closed because I would look at them and go, what are you talking about? I believe in something you do not. How can you even say that my mind is closed when I believe something you don't? All right. I have throughout my life adopted and experienced all of the roles, so I've been able to evaluate what is going on. I came from a Christian environment. It was kind of a tough environment, actually, for me. And I didn't stay there. I had reason to leave my beginnings. I also remember as a kid asking a lot of questions and being told so many times, boy, you don't know. It's God's word. You just have to believe it. Danny, you just have to have faith. That was so many times. I was the kid that was like, why? And if there were things happening at home and in my life that if I'm supposed to be able to talk to Jesus and get help, how come he's not doing it? I am praying my eyes out, my heart out. I am really hurting here and it's not working. You're giving me a way out that isn't working. How come? And eventually things happen to the point that I decide I'm going to go explore the world. And that happens. You grow up, you explore the world. And eventually at some point I go around enough to realize, you know what? I am a Christian and a product of where I am, where I was raised simply because that's where I was born. If I had been a different egg in a different womb in a different part of the world at a different time in history, I would have been a different person. I'm just here right now being this individual because I'm emerging in life on this planet from this location. And that's a good starting point, but that's a starting point. That once I left that behind and I began to travel and I began to experiment and experience life with other people, I began to realize no matter where you come from, you show up with a blank slate other than, some DNA that you show up with, some programming, some individual characteristics that we have. But by and large, our life experiences dictate who and what we are. Now, I also look at Christianity and I realize as a kid, as I'm looking for answers in life, Christianity is something that is being handed to me. I'm being told, here's an answer for you. This is not something I find seeking on my own. When I go looking for tangible answers, the Bible never appears in that group of tangible answers. It's always there. I know it's there, but I'm looking for tangible answers, and the Bible is one I'm supposed to just worship and shut up. So I don't like that. I want to know what drives things. I want to know what's behind the curtain. I want to seek and I want to knock. And that's it right there. There's a point in time in my life where I realized that I'm having a lot of difficulty, that my early childhood experiences, the hurtful ones, had never been resolved. And as a result, they were causing my life to be hurtful. Divorce, alcohol, wife got pregnant by somebody else. There was like something that was just, I was always trying to move ahead, do the right thing, but it would fall apart. Wrong people, wrong something. And I kept going through in life thinking, how come what? I just show up here and this is my life. Why? What? I should stop for a minute, maybe just, there's new people on the video. I hate repeating this stuff all the time. The environment was Christian. It was nevertheless also a home where somebody had problems. There was abuse. I was raised with being whipped with belts, welted top and bottom, me and my brother. As really, really small kids, we were burned with cigarettes by my biological father. But as life went on, we were beaten and whipped and were told things like, you're damn dumb, you're stupid, you kids will never amount to anything. We also went to church 3 times a week. We prayed, Larry and I prayed shoulder to shoulder every night. Now I lay me down to sleep, and please, God, come and help us. Please stop. Please make them stop. Please make it quit. And one day Larry learned about heaven extensively in his Sunday school class. He was 11 years old. I was 9. I paraphrase because I was 9. I remember him talking to me and talking about heaven and being excited. I just remember things like, we had to eat liver all the time. And we hated that. I remembered, anyway. I remember him saying we don't have to eat liver, that we can have dessert and we can see Blackie. Blackie was our cat. It was fall. It was cold. Blackie crawled up in the engine compartment and Blackie was gone. So I remember specific things like that. And he was very excited about it. But I had to stay in the house. He went outside and he took a rope and went up into the woods, and he ended his life because he thought when he was gone, he was going to appear in heaven on the other side. And that was very hurtful for me. And then I prayed harder, and, nobody knew what to do. None of that was ever resolved. It continued on, the abuse, the beatings, the confusion, the running away from home, the getting molested. So many things were piling up. It was a mess. It gets very disparaging. At some point in time, I'm along in life, and somehow I'm learning enough, and I'm by myself, I'm isolated, and I'm figuring out things enough that something dawns on me, that everywhere I go in life, from one place to another, it starts out fresh, but it doesn't take long before it looks like some sort of a version of what I left behind. And I go, what is the matter with people? How come people are like this? And at some point, this thing dawns on me that as I'm going through these cycles, I recognize there's one thing that is absolutely, positively, undoubtedly in common with each and every one of those. I was there. I was a part of it. I was the common element. And I had to stop and take a hard look at that. And I realized that my life experiences were continuing to unfold because of the unresolved issues that I had with me from childhood. And some of that came from my Christian roots. My mind opened as soon as I turned inward and said, my problems are because of me, because of what I'm carrying, not because of the situation I am. I'm not talking, this is a difficult subject. People can be in bad places and say, I'm in an abusive situation here. That's not because of me. You have to get out of those. What I'm talking about is at some point in time, you're out on your own trying to resolve life. You've gotten away from all the things that are hurting you, so you now are in a position to heal. At this point in time, when you have the freedom to do so, you can turn inward and just focus on your inner memories, the healing, the what it takes to go through that so that they stop creating your future, your life, the way your life unfolds. That is what we live throughout life. We hold on to belief systems that help us manage that help us live with it. I can't deal with it, but at least I can hang on. But if you can turn inward with it, that's what is inside the material. Quite honestly, if you are interpreting this material, Jesus teaches this very same thing right here in a way that is cryptic. You have to analyze it and figure it out. We live life through what would be called the third eye, or what it is not one of these eyes, it's the perception. It's an analogous term, which means you're living life, viewing life through this window of your experience. This is your bundle of memories. That's your eye right there. And what's it full of? That's the mote in your eye. Jesus teaches to get that out of there too. Think of this as one of my favorites because it's so spot on. It's easy to interpret this one. If you come to the altar to leave a gift and you remember that you have aught against your brother, go set your gift down and resolve the aught first, then come back and give your gift. And your Father who sees in secret will reward you in secret. So I'm having a life that is not okay. I am not being rewarded in secret. My Father who sees in secret is not rewarding me. My life is not okay no matter where I go, no matter what I do. But at that point in time, I remembered I had aught against my brother. That means that I had issues from my past. The aught against my brother was the person who did this to me, the person who did that to me, the person who abandoned me, the person who did this to me. All of these people were enemies in my past that all had to be let go because I was carrying them with me, and that's damn hard. But you have to get outside yourself and realize you're emergent from a big sea. You want to rise above it. The things that you hold on to keep you there that these people did not target you just because you're who you are. You have to become bigger than that and realize you're in a sea. You're the next in line. You're in a lineage of activity that's going on, and you're emergent through that. And you have to get over the idea that you are a personal, I'm an individual victim. And when you do that, it becomes easier to start realizing that the people who did something to you were one-time children being told you're damn dumb, you're never going to amount to anything. Shut up, as they're getting whipped over and over again. And they never got it resolved. They never got the mote out of their eye. So they lived the same way. So I had to go resolve that. And then when I came back, my Father who sees in secret, I didn't pray. What happens? My life becomes better automatically because I resolved that stuff in secret. It's not in secret, it's in mental. Very specifically, if you're looking for the place to target, if you want to just cut to the chase, it's in the perceptions of the memories. Look at the memory, monitor it, determine the quality of it by the emotional feel of it. Go examine it and work with it until the emotional sensation is okay and it's resolved. You don't have to forgive anybody. You can't. Try to forgive somebody without resolving this. You're going to go, I forgive him. I don't ever want to see him again. I hate them, but I forgive him. It's not forgiven. You're carrying the issue. It's an inner process. You have to feel okay. Don't worry about forgiving them. Worry about resolving the way you perceive a situation, because that's the real seed that continues to act out in you. When that's done, you will find out the other person is a non-issue. We're doing it backwards, from the outside in. We have to go from the inside out. To me, when I look back on it, your mind is open when you're a kid. It's open, 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 open. You're absorbing all kinds of stuff. However, you're not discriminating. It's just coming in. That right there makes me ashamed. That makes me angry. Oh, I like that. We're becoming all of these things. So we're just becoming products indiscriminately. We have open minds. The closed mind starts coming down as we're making conscious decisions about, I don't like this or like that. Okay, with an open mind, what is an open mind? Open-minded to what? To me, if you say open mind, that means, okay, well, then you must be open to the idea of God. You must be open to the idea of evolution. You must be open to the idea of abiogenesis. You must be open to the idea of multiple universes. An open mind is an open mind. And we're talking about this spiritual realm right here, not, other learning. This is specifically with respect to, this type of material. So would an open mind then say, yes, I believe in the Bible, and I also believe in Richard Dawkins' teachings and all of the material that we come up with on evolution and where we came about? Can you do that? An open mind would be open to that. So to say a belief in a God is an open mind is really not the right term to use. What you could possibly say is, I am open-minded to the idea of a belief in this supernatural, in this version of a supernatural belief process right here. I am open-minded to that. That is what you can say. You can't say that I am open-minded. You can say I'm open-minded to one thing, in which case that's not open-minded. That's the wrong term. What that is I am committed to a belief, a faith belief in a supernatural something. Period. Okay. If that is what a belief, that is what Abrahamic religion is. Once you get outside and realize, if you were raised in India, you would have been a Hindu, from Tibet. You'd most certainly be a Buddhist, and maybe a Confucianist, or maybe another form of a Buddhist if from China, a Muslim if from Saudi Arabia, and you could sit there and go, from this perspective, I don't like the sounds of that. I've got prejudices up, and no, I don't like that. But if you could sit down objectively on a mountaintop someplace in quiet peace and really let everything go and think about it, you would realize that's true. You'd have to go, damn it, yeah. I got to get out of my local environment. That was just my conditioning to start with. Then I also realized that if I was truly open-minded, then I would believe in all the gods. There must be millions of them. Is that really the right thing to do? Is that what we're looking for? Is that what we're trying to accomplish as we're talking about this? So when I say open mind, that means like if I have an open mind, that means I do not deny the existence of your claim. I'm still waiting for it to be demonstrated. I don't automatically go, oh, you said that, so I believe it. That's not open-minded. That's something different. Think through the mental process that what you're going through. I now believe in this, so I have an open mind. Why? Somebody gave that to you and said, here, believe this. Now, there's a few rare exceptions where people are looking for something and they find it. But by and large, by the billions, people become products. We all do. The Buddha, all that we are is the result of what we have thought. It's founded on our thoughts and it's based in our thoughts. So the thing here that becomes difficult then is realizing that there might be something bigger in the material than one is worshiping and holding on to. And that the idea that Jesus material is individually interactive steps. If you went to the Sermon on the... I've got videos up on this if you're interested. But if you went to like his teachings of the Sermon on the Plain or the Sermon on the Mount and just went through each one of them and you interpret them properly, they become mentally interactive healing steps for resolving the past issues. It becomes a pathway to inner peace, to letting go. And if you don't find that there, I can tell you it is there, and that I have interacted with it, and that my early childhood, where I had reason to take this Bible and hate it because of what it represented. My brother left me because this taught him he had some place to go. And later people are telling me, yeah, you know what, if you go that way, you go to hell anyway. There was a lot of mixed up things. It's still not okay at this point. I mean, I realize, yeah, well, you know what? It's part of my motor. When people go, why? Why are you aggressive about that? That's the point right there. That's why. When I snap at people about something that they come at me with something really ignorant with and think they're going to teach you something, they don't know where you're coming from. There's a lot of power behind what drives me sometimes. It doesn't come from outside. It comes from inside. And that gets frustrating sometimes as well. But, I can be a mixed bag myself. This is a path. There's a destination. If you ever think you're there, I don't know what to say. I will probably seek it all my life. But I can say that my life now is radically different than what it was early on. Everything is fine. My life is wonderful. My wife is wonderful. Anyway, I don't have to get into all that. I'll simply say that when I did those changes in life, it led to other changes in life. It wasn't overnight. It's a process. You have to keep doing that if you come from a bad place. But then I guess as I realize where I am now today in life, I realized that I started out with an open mind, that I absorbed everything. I became a product of that. And as a result, that I had to go in and start cleaning house and resolving things. And this is part of the material that teaches that. And I won't do that. The pathway, the template is based on that, though, the human life, how we come about and how at the flood, that would be the point where we get hurt and it's time to turn inward. The question is, do we ever turn inward or not? There is interactive steps in this material that the stories are framed upon. Can you see that? How well do you know the Bible? Genesis. Do you have it memorized? There's code sequences in there that we can't see. And I'm working on finding those. But this is that's I guess when it comes down to it, that's why I say for myself, if I look back on my life and when I was a Christian and I had my beliefs compared to where I am today, could I say that myself as a Christian that believed in God and was praying to Jesus was open-minded compared to what I am today? And I would say, no, not at all. I am open-minded today because I've learned how to interact with that material that people were telling me just worship it. Meanwhile, they didn't know what to do with it. There was something. I finally came full circle and found out that this is like a Buddha that got pulled up into a religion. So did the Buddha. But the Buddha didn't turn Buddha into something to worship. He laid out a path. Jesus laid out a path. People follow Buddha's path. People worship Jesus. Yet they both laid out the same path. that was difficult to reconcile for me because of that past. All right. So yeah, I hope that makes it clear. I don't want to say a final comment on it other than to say that an open mind would be open and receptive to what it really sees and what it can interact with. It doesn't just grab onto something that it has been told from somewhere else. And even if you feel those sensations and can interact with it, have some feelings and have some mystical things going on, there's reasons for all of that. Those are natural. And we all do that, God not required. I can assure you that now that I've got all that stuff cleared out, it happens to me all the time now compared to when I had all that stuff messed up in here. Because of this, life unfolds based on what you have up here. In quiet, in secret. The unresolved stuff. When you're sitting there quietly going, yeah, I feel really good. Hi, everybody. Life is wonderful. But inside your mind, you're like, oh, I got this, that, I got turmoil. I got to put on this show. I got this to take care of and that to take care of. That's the stuff right there. That's what we're really living through that is a problem for us. What we put on in the physical world is insignificant. It's what we feel inside that is really what is driving us. It's trying to emerge. It's trying to let us know it's there. And the question is, do we just live with it or do we try to address it so that it stops bothering us? When we make it our enemy, it becomes our enemy. That's a mental process internally. Okay, you see me going into my interpretation of the material. And the reason for that is to demonstrate that there's more in the material than what meets the eye, that there is something different in there that, as a child, when I asked questions, people didn't know those answers, but I wanted to know. And I kept looking and I found were answers in there that were answers for me. So I look back on it from my own personal experience then and think that, that it seems to me like when I decided I didn't want to believe in anything and I just wanted to go see what was out there for myself. I'm done listening to people. I'm ready to go search. To me, that's when it feels like my mind opened for me personally. And then, just like I said, talking through it all, you realize it's not about an open mind. It's about having a belief in something. So we argue about silly things, about silly terms. And it's like, it's too much for a comment section anyway, isn't it? So if you think things through, it's like the whole supernatural claim. It's another one of those. People say that there is something supernatural. Well, define supernatural. What does that really mean? And if I say, well, I know that there are physical laws of the universe, and those are natural. Supernatural would mean somehow outside of the physical laws of the universe, outside of nature. We could never interact with that. How would that even work? And that's exactly how it is described, isn't it? I've had people, however, tell me, no. That means that it's inside the universe. It's inside the physical laws. We just don't understand it yet. It's something that we haven't figured out yet. And if that's the case, then you can't call it supernatural. You would have to call it natural that we can't figure out yet. Supernatural is giving it a classification that it is a real existence that you cannot interact with. So we really abuse terms, I think. We banty them about without defining them very carefully. And we need to, if we're trying to have a real conversation, we need to have real definitions in the terms we're using. We're pretty sloppy. All right, well, I hope the video was informative, and yeah, those are my thoughts on it. But you have to you got to kind of meander in life a bit to see certain things. I get that. I do. I understand the feelings from all the perspectives. But the more perspectives you have, the more data points you have to make decisions from. You know that. All right, see you in the next video.